When he received these orders from Acts 16, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet in stocks. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying. And what do they do at midnight? Anybody remember? They sing. They're singing hymns to God. And the other prisoners were listening to them. As someone who's been working rather hard, and I'm looking at this crowd, we've been working rather hard as a community lately. Can't you imagine at least the remote possibility that after all the intense ministry and work that they've been doing, being placed in shackles in a prison felt like a break? They literally couldn't move. And yet what brought joy and renewal to their souls? At midnight, they start to sing. They started to sing. Raise your hand if music helps restore and bring rest to your soul. Yeah, me too. This next slide is a picture of when my good friend Smart from Tanzania, who does work in Bukoba region of Tanzania, along with his wife, who's her name is Dr. Jessica Rebengira Baitani. They came to Pilgrim in 2017, and I get to now go to be with them in where they do ministry in Tanzania. Israel Kagaruki is a blind man who is a musical genius in the Bukoba region. He has composed over 2,000 songs, and he just falls out of bed and writes a song. There's all these college choir competitions throughout East Africa, and when Smart takes the choir to another region, they'll be sitting there hearing another choir from another region, and they'll start singing, and Israel will be like, hey, that's my song. They took my song. Smart had the genius to take one of his compositions, notate it, because it's all been oral, and it got published by Hal Leonard Publishing. As you can see, if you zeroed in on that image, you can buy sheet music, Words and Music by Israel Kagaruki. So every year, Israel gets a few dollars of royalty money from a song he wrote in a rural village in Tanzania from here in the United States. Isn't that awesome? The connections that God is making. And this next slide is a picture of Israel Kagaruki singing lead on one of the songs that he wrote, of course. I'll just say a short prayer after we experience a little bit of the music that will renew us this morning and in the coming season.
Ayangena, ayampuma, ayabigisera, ayesaba mangwana. Ayangena, ayangena, ayampuma, ayabigisera, ayesaba mangwana. Ayesaba, ayesaba mangwana. Ayesaba, ayesaba mangwana. Ayesaba, ayesaba mangwana. Ayesaba mangwana. Wanipige, wanipige, wanitese mimi sitaacha kulihubiri neno. Wanipige, wanipige, wanitese mimi sitaacha kulihubiri neno. Kulihubiri, kulihubiri neno. Kulihubiri neno. Kulihubiri neno. Kulihubiri neno.
All right. Let's give God praise for the gift of song and music. There is a concept in the spiritual journey called the midnight of the soul. Has anybody ever heard that phrase? Some of us, with all the darkness and tragedy happening in the world and the stress of a pandemic that still seems to be rearing its ugly head, some would call our experience currently a midnight of the soul. Fatigue, stress, grief, trauma unprocessed. As Paul and Silas sat in prison at midnight, certainly with the stress of their soul bearing in on them, they chose to sing. May God give us songs to sing in this season, even in the midst of darkness and pain, to bring hope, rest, and renewal and to our souls. Amen.